After all I have suffered, you still locked me out? Child of the river, speak your truth. Whoever caused my tears, let the heavens judge!
Your pain has reached the spirits, and the land will answer.
Until we beg Adunni, we are finished!
They cast you away, but you will rise as a queen.
Let the truth come out.
My people, gather round. Let me tell you a story carried by the winds of the forest and whispered by the ancestors themselves. This is not just a tale. It is a remembrance, a journey, a truth wrapped in mystery. My name? Call me the voice of the village, for today I am the one telling you about Adunni, the girl they later called the pregnant virgin. Night falls over Idika village. The moon is round, heavy and golden, like a calabash of honey lifted before the gods. Drums hum softly in the distance. Children chase fireflies. Elders sit on wooden stools carving stories into the air. The air smells of roasted yam and wet earth. And in the center of it all stands Adunni. Adunni, the fair-skinned, red-haired girl whose mother came from faraway Ireland but whose heart beat fully in Yoruba rhythm. The girl blessed from birth by the river goddess herself. In Idika village, Adunni was the one choosing every new year to sprinkle sacred water around the entire village. They believed her purity invited fertility, prosperity, and peace. When she walked, even leaves softened under her feet. When she smiled, gods bleated happily. When she lifted the sacred calabash, even the ancestors leaned closer. Everyone loved her. Well, almost everyone. Because where there is light, shadows gather too. Some girls in the village envied her. Her beauty, her calmness, her honor. The boys admired her, yes, but admiration quickly turns to bitterness when attention isn't returned. You see, Adunni had a vow, a promise sealed by her parents and witnessed by the gods. She must remain untouched until the age of 22. So, whenever a boy walked up to her with soft words and heavy intentions, she smiled politely and stepped aside. Her refusal was gentle, but jealousy is not gentle. It grows teeth. My people, that night will never be forgotten. The drums were beating fast. The moon was full, bright enough to make the river look like molten silver. Everyone was playing, dancing, and celebrating. Adunni stood near the big Iroko tree, laughing with the girls who, unknown to her, had grown thorns behind their smiles. They pretended to befriend her. They spoke sweet words like palm wine. Then they led her away. Come, Adunni, we found a new type of glowing flower inside the forest. Come and see. Her heart was pure. She followed them. But it was a trap, set with wicked hands, hidden under friendly voices. By the time she returned to the village later that night, her spirit was trembling like a broken drum. Her eyes were empty, her feet were dusty and wounded. But she said nothing, for fear has a way of sewing the lips shut. She hid her tears in the corners of her mat. Only the moon witnessed her pain. Some weeks later, the time came again for her to carry the sacred calabash of prosperity. The entire village gathered. Drummers drummed, women sang, the elders performed the opening chants. Adunni stepped forward, the same girl, but not the same heart. She lifted the calabash, and before her fingers fully touched it, bam! The calabash shattered. Water spilled everywhere. The sound echoed like thunder. The villagers gasped. A silence heavier than a fallen Iroko tree took over. Elder Oluwo whispered, "A calabash of purity only breaks when purity has been tampered with." Women covered their mouths. Men shook their heads. Children stared with wide eyes. Adunni fell to her knees and cried, but her tears only made people talk more. Some mocked her. Some pitied her. Some shook their heads in disappointment. Her parents? They refused to believe her innocence. Their shame blinded them. From that day, Adunni became an outcast. She was taken to the cleansing hut, a lonely place at the edge of the village. There she stayed for days, going through rituals and spiritual baths meant to wash away a stain that was never hers. When she returned home, she returned with a swelling stomach, a silent testimony of the wickedness done to her. And instead of protecting her, instead of comforting her, her parents pushed her away. They stopped feeding her. Neighbors pointed at her. Whispers followed her like shadows. Some called her cursed. Others called her foolish. But the ancestors, my people, the ancestors watched quietly, because the eyes of the spirit see deeper than the eyes of humans. At 7 months, her belly grew heavy. She grew weak. Food was scarce, love scarcer. One night, rain poured like the heavens were weeping for her. Thunder rumbled, wind howled. Adunni stood outside, drenched, shivering, hungry, locked out by the same parents who brought her to the world. Her pain boiled till it broke free. She removed her clothes, stood barefoot in the storm, and cried to the heavens, "Ancestors, Oshun, whoever caused my tears, may tears visit them. Whoever pushed me away, may they taste loneliness. Whoever knows the truth and hides it, may the truth pursue them without rest." The wind stopped. The rain paused. Even the thunder listened. And with nothing but her pain and her unborn child, Adunni walked into the forest. She walked deep into the ancient forest, carrying only her tears, her hunger, and her unborn child. But destiny does not lose its way. Even in the darkest forest, it knows exactly where to find you. The rain stopped, as if an invisible hand held the clouds still. Cold wind wrapped itself around Adunni's trembling body. Her steps were heavy, yet something kept pulling her forward. Finally, she reached an old forgotten hut, the kind you see only in stories whispered at midnight. The roof was crooked. The walls carried the scars of time. Strange carvings decorated the entrance. It felt abandoned, yet alive. Adunni, weak and exhausted, sat down in front of the hut. She hugged her swollen belly and cried silently. For the first time since her misfortune began, she did not cry from shame. She cried because she felt truly alone. Then, suddenly, creak! The door to the hut opened. A man stepped out, hair scattered, beard rough, eyes unfocused, clothes torn. People in the village called him the wandering madman, but the forest called him something else. At first, Adunni was afraid. She tried to stand, but her legs shook like loose palm branches. The man stared at her for a long moment, as if the spirits inside him were whispering secrets. Without speaking, he reached into the hut and brought out a small bowl of burnt, almost blackened food. He stretched it towards her with shaky hands. For the first time in months, someone showed her kindness. Adunni looked at the burnt food and she accepted it. She ate slowly, painfully, but every bite tasted like hope. The man watched her, his head tilting strangely, as if trying to remember something or someone. When she finished eating, he suddenly dropped the bowl. His eyes widened. He staggered backward. He held his head with both hands. Ah! Ah! He groaned, like memories were forcing their way back. Adunni was terrified. She crawled back, shielding her belly. Then suddenly, flash! It was like lightning struck inside him. His eyes cleared. His posture straightened. His breathing calmed. And in a voice that sounded like royalty waking from a long sleep, he whispered, My name is Adeoye. Adeoye looked at Adunni, but this time with clarity. He knelt before her. Thank you, he said softly. Your acceptance of my offering has restored my memory. Adunni blinked, confused. What do you mean? Adeoye touched his chest. I am Prince Adeoye, the first son of King Adeton of Ilekun Kingdom. Adunni gasped. He continued, voice heavy with old pain. My second wife, out of jealousy, used forbidden charms to shut my mind years ago. I wandered the forests, forgotten, lost, a man without a name. He raised his head to look at Adunni. But the moment you accepted my burnt food, something broke, something evil released me. Silence. Only the trees whispered. Adeoye stared at her belly, not with judgment, but with tenderness. You carry sorrow, and yet you still had enough kindness to eat what I gave you. A heart like yours doesn't deserve the suffering you faced. Adunni began to cry again, this time from emotion she couldn't name. Adeoye touched the ground 3 times, a gesture of royalty. I vow today that your past will not define you. If you agree, I will stand with you. I will protect you. I will marry you if you allow me, and your child will be accepted as mine. The forest stirred. Leaves rustled gently, almost in approval. Adunni's tears fell harder now. No one had ever defended her. No one had ever believed her. No one had ever offered to stand beside her. Yet here was a man, a prince, broken, restored, humbled, choosing her. Adeoye helped Adunni rise to her feet. He covered her with his old cloth. Then he held her hand. My father must know I am alive. But will they accept me? Adunni whispered. Adeoye smiled, a smile that pushed sunlight back into her life. They will, and if they do not, I will fight them. Together they walked through the forest. When they reached Ilekon Kingdom, the palace guards nearly fainted. Prince Adeoye, is it truly you? They cried. Word spread like wildfire. The king rushed out. The queen ran behind him. They both grabbed their son, crying like children. My son, the gods have returned you to us. As they embraced him, the king's second wife stepped out, the same woman who caused his downfall. The moment her eyes met Adeoye's, she froze. Her knees shook, her lips trembled. Then right there in front of everyone, she screamed and fell to the ground. I confess, I am the one who destroyed him. Forgive me, the spirits warned me never to see him again. Ah! I am finished. The entire palace went silent. She kept confessing as if invisible hands were squeezing the truth out of her. The king was speechless. The queen was shaking. And in the middle of all this, Adunni stood quietly, the girl the world called cursed. When the palace elders asked who Adunni was, Adeoye stepped forward proudly. She is under my protection, he declared. She is the woman I choose. Treat her with respect. The king and queen turned towards Adunni. One look at her swollen belly, one look at her tired eyes, one look at her trembling hands, and they embraced her warmly. My daughter, the queen whispered, you are safe here. The king nodded. No one will harm you again, not in this kingdom. That very day, Adunni was given new clothes, warm meals, a room scented with herbs, and love that her own village denied her. Her spirit began to heal. Her child grew stronger. The palace flourished. Rain returned. Crops grew. Peace rested on the kingdom like a soft cloth. Everything was good. Except one thing. Back in Adunni's village, rain refused to fall. Wells dried up. Animals fell sick. Children fainted from thirst. And soon, the truth began to chase those who caused her suffering.
Adunni had finally found peace in a foreign kingdom, while her own village, Idika, was sinking slowly under the weight of its hidden sins. But secrets kept in darkness do not remain quiet forever, not when the spirits are watching. In the early days after Adunni left, the villagers thought they had removed a burden. They continued their normal lives. Market women gossiped, young men played ayo under the mango tree, and elders sat counting kola nuts. But 4 days after Adunni walked into the forest, rain stopped completely. Not a drop. The skies looked swollen with clouds, yet not a single tear fell from them. At first, people thought it was normal. It is only 4 days, they said, the rain will come. But by the second month, fear had entered their bones. The wells dried up. Rivers shrunk. Farms cracked terribly. Goats bleated weakly. Children cried from thirst. Elder Oluwo, the chief priest, knew something was terribly wrong. One hot evening, the entire village gathered at the shrine. Sacred bells rang. Thick incense rose like a bridge into the spirit world. Oluwo entered the inner chamber. Only his staff and the ancestors followed him. After a long silence, he returned with his eyes wide, wider than anyone had ever seen. The village trembled. Oluwo, what did the spirits say? The elders asked. He swallowed hard and spoke. This land has offended an innocent child. A child loved by the river. A child protected by the ancestors. Whispers spread like wildfire. Which child? Who did we offend? What have we done? Oluwa raised the staff sharply. Until the guilty ones confess, this land will not see rain. And until the innocent one is found and forgiven, our suffering will increase. A heavy silence fell. Everyone knew he was talking about Adunni, but none of the guilty ones spoke. Not the girls who lured her, not the boys who ambushed her, not the parents who abandoned her. They all kept quiet, hoping the spirits would forget. But spirits do not forget, especially when a special child cries to them. It began slowly. One of the boys who hurt her awoke one morning and felt something strange happening to his body. His lower region felt heavy, growing uncontrollably, painfully. He screamed but hid the truth. Another boy experienced the same misery. Then another, and another. Soon they could barely walk properly. As for the girls who plotted the evil trap, their chests began to swell unnaturally, growing, stretching, pulling their shoulders down painfully. Their mothers cried, their fathers panicked, but none knew the cause. The village was in chaos. One night, the guilty boys and girls met secretly behind the old palm oil mill. Sweat covered their faces. Their voices shook. One of them whispered, "Let us confess, this thing is becoming too much." "No," another replied. "Do you want us to be disgraced? Do you want the village to know what we did? But look at what is happening to us. We cannot continue like this." The leader of the girls glared at everyone. Anyone who talks will be punished. We will suffer this together. We will manage it. No one must speak. They all nodded weakly, but the spirit had already planted fear in their hearts. Days later, something even more frightening happened. 2 hunters returning from the forest claimed they saw a glowing figure near the river bank. Not a human glow, a spiritual one. A woman dressed in golden water, her hair flowing like waves, her eyes shining like sunlight. Oshun, the river goddess. The hunter said she whispered, "You punished my daughter. Now your land will taste bitterness." When the hunters reported this to the elders, even the most stubborn villagers began to fear. The women who mocked Adunni began having nightmares. They saw her crying in their dreams. They heard her voice calling their names. They woke up screaming at night. The boys were worse. They felt invisible hands pulling their ears in the dark, slapping their faces, dragging their feet. Still, none confessed. But the ancestors were patient. And when the ancestors are patient, fear becomes the teacher. One afternoon, the worst of the boys collapsed in the middle of the village square. His legs shook violently. His voice trembled. I cannot continue again," he cried. The girls gathered around him, furious. "Get up, stop, you will expose us," they shouted. But he couldn't stop shaking. Tears poured down his face. Then he screamed, "I will talk." The whole village froze. He fell to his knees. "Forgive me, forgive us. We are the reason Adunni suffered. We planned everything. She was innocent." Gasps filled the air. Mothers dropped their water pots. Elders covered their mouths. Children ran to hide. By the time they finished, the truth was out. The land grew silent. Even the wind refused to blow. And Elder Oluwa spoke. "Now that the truth has been revealed, you must appease the land. You must find Adunni and you must beg her, not just with your mouth, but with your souls." The villagers trembled. Some asked, "But will she forgive us?" Oluwa shook his head slowly. "It is not her forgiveness alone that you must fear, but the punishment of Oshun, Sango, and the ancestors who loved her." While Idika village suffered, the kingdom of Ilekun flourished beautifully. Rain fell every 3 days. Crops sprouted like magic. Every sunrise looked brighter. Adunni's pregnancy glowed with health. The queen adored her. The king treated her like a treasure. People bowed respectfully whenever she walked by. But even in comfort, Adunni still dreamed of her village. She still wondered whether her parents thought of her. She still felt the ache of betrayal. Little did she know that the entire village was now preparing to kneel before her feet. But would she forgive them? And what would Oshun demand? After the guilty ones confessed, Idika village entered deep mourning. Shame covered them like a thick cloth. The chief priest, Elder Oluwo, gathered the entire village under the Iroko tree. His eyes were tired, not from age, but from disappointment. He lifted his staff and announced, "We must travel to Ilekun Kingdom. We must kneel before the one we rejected. We must beg for forgiveness not only for ourselves, but so that the land can breathe again. The villagers murmured, "Will she even listen to us? Will she look at us? What if she refuses?" Oluwa shook his head sadly. "Refusal is her right. We are the ones who committed evil." So the journey began. The elders led the way. The guilty boys and girls followed behind, their heads bowed in shame. The villagers walked barefoot as a sign of humility before the gods. Mothers carried calabashes of offerings. Men carried palm fronds. Children carried baskets of white flowers. From morning till evening, they walked across the forest path that Adunni once traveled alone with tears in her eyes. But now, they were the ones crying. Meanwhile, in Ilekun kingdom, Adunni blossomed like a flower after a rainfall. Her baby kicked strongly. Her skin glowed like morning sun on river water. The queen often placed her ear on Adunni's belly, laughing like a child. "My daughter," she would say, "this child you carry, there is something powerful about him." Prince Adeoye, he adored Adunni openly. He walked beside her, held her hand, shielded her from everything. Sometimes at night, Adunni would sit by the palace balcony, watching the moon. She still missed home, not the cruelty, but the memories, the forests, the old songs, the laughter of children. But she did not know that her village was on their way to kneel before her. The moment the villagers reached the gates of Ilekun kingdom, the guards were confused. Hundreds of people, dusty, crying, tired, holding offerings. "Who are you people?" the guards asked. Elder Oluwa stepped forward and bowed deeply. "We come in peace. We have come to seek your prince and the woman he brought here." The guards' eyes widened. "You mean Lady Adunni?" The villagers nodded. They were escorted into the palace courtyard, the same courtyard where Adunni once walked in trembling fear. Now it was filled with beauty, flowers, golden drapes, and the sweet smell of prosperity. The king and queen stepped out first. Prince Adeoye followed. And then Adunni walked slowly, carrying her majestic pregnancy, glowing like a goddess touched by the sun. The villagers gasped. Some fell to their knees immediately. Some covered their faces. Some began to cry loudly. Her parents, her mother fainted at the sight of her. Her father knelt with shaking hands. "Adunni, Adunni, forgive us," he whispered, his voice cracking into pieces. Her mother woke up, held Adunni's feet, and sobbed uncontrollably. "My child, my only child, I wronged you. I believed lies. I allowed shame to blind me. Forgive me." Adunni stared at them silently. Tears filled her eyes, but she kept still. The guilty boys fell to the ground. "Adunni, we beg you," they said, their voices trembling. "We did evil. We lied. The spirits are tormenting us. Please forgive us." The girls cried so loudly that even the palace guards looked away. Adunni's heart was heavy. Her hands trembled. How do you forgive people who broke you? How do you heal from wounds carved by those you loved? She stepped back overwhelmed. Prince Adeoye held her hand gently. "You do not have to say anything," he whispered. "You owe no one forgiveness." But suddenly, a cool breeze blew across the courtyard. The air shimmered. The scent of honey and river water filled the palace. Everyone froze. A golden light appeared beside Adunni. Water swirled around her feet. A woman stepped out, glowing like molten gold, smiling gently, yet carrying the power of 1,000 rivers. It was Oshu, the goddess of sweetness, beauty, fertility, and compassion. The entire village collapsed to the ground. Oshun touched Adunni's face gently, like a mother comforting her child. "My daughter, you have suffered, but you remained pure in heart. Your tears reached the heavens. Your cries woke the ancestors." She turned to the villagers. Her face changed, from gentle to fierce. "You punished an innocent one. You wounded a child I love. Now look at your land. It has rejected you." The villagers shook where they knelt. But Oshun continued softly. "The heart of the innocent is more powerful than any ritual." She looked at Adunni. "My beloved child, your forgiveness will restore the land, but it is your choice. Only your heart can open the skies again." The entire courtyard fell silent. Even the wind waited. Adunni looked at her parents, at the girls who envied her, at the boys who hurt her, at the villagers who abandoned her. Her voice was soft, but it carried the weight of 7 worlds. "I forgive you," she said, "but not because you deserve it. I forgive you because my heart needs peace." The villagers cried loudly, rolling on the ground. But Adunni continued, "Forgiveness does not erase consequences. You must never repeat this evil to any child again. Let my story be the last." Oshun smiled proudly. "You have done well, my daughter." She lifted her hand. Instantly, thunder rolled gently in the sky. Clouds gathered. Then, rah! Rain! Rain fell heavily in Idika village, though they were miles away. The land drank greedily. The spirits were satisfied. The guilty ones felt relief. Their torment stopped. Their bodies returned to normal. Peace returned to the land. Oshun turned to Adunni again. "My daughter, because of your pure heart, your child will be blessed. He will grow to be a great leader, guided by the river, protected by thunder, and loved by the ancestors." Sango's thunder echoed faintly in the distance, as though confirming the prophecy. Prince Adeyoye wrapped his arm around Adunni. "My love, your story will never be forgotten." The queen hugged her. The king blessed her. The palace women ululated joyfully, and Adunni smiled for the first time in many months.
Adunni remained in Ilekun kingdom, respected, honored, cherished. When her time came, she gave birth to a powerful son, a child marked by destiny, carrying the grace of Oshun and the fire of Sango. Stories of the pregnant virgin spread across kingdoms. Children sat around fires to hear it. Elders bowed their heads when her name was mentioned. Her village learned humility forever. And Adunni? She lived a long, peaceful, blessed life. A queen, a mother, a symbol of resilience, and the daughter of the river. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Stay blessed. Be guided.